Playmates, and welcome back to the channel. For those of you that are new here, I'm Kimmy. Today I'm dipping my toe in the waters of a different subreddit that I haven't covered yet, which is r/TraumatizeThemBack, and I do enjoy this subreddit because it covers stories of people matching the energies of those who like to dish it out but can't take it. And if that's something that interests you too, just come along with me for the ride, grab your libation of choice, and let's get into it. All right, the first story is Don't Touch My Kid's Hair. And the flair on this is petty revenge. My 8-year-old daughter has very red hair, leaning more towards auburn. She's never cut it. We call it the Long Hair Don't Care Club, because mine is pretty long too. Hers though is so long that she has to pull it out from under her when she sits. She loves her hair. So do her father and I. Every redhead knows that in public people will always try to touch it, mostly older white ladies. So on to the story. Older white lady in the grocery store goes to touch her hair. She's used to people trying to touch her hair and hates it, and very vocally told her, "Don't touch me." I've taught her to be loud about it because it'll embarrass them and stop most people, but not this lady. A few aisles over, we're picking what type of crackers she wants when old bitch again comes by. My daughter has a sparkly pink baseball cap on with her ponytail through the loop. This woman grabbed her ponytail and ran her hair down it and said, "Oh, it feels so nice." I replied, "Well, it should, considering it's a wig and you are complimenting a cancer patient on someone else's hair, because she doesn't have any." Bitch turned white as a wedding gown. I said, "Stop touching her or I will touch you." Cue the clutching of pearls and turning beet red. She starts to apologize and tries to reach to my kid yet again.
"You fuck off."
My daughter told her, "If you touch me again, I'll bite you." She left us alone after that, but I got a few stink-eyed looks from her for the rest of the time we shopped. We check out and I'm loading my cart, and lo and behold, this bitch was handing my kid a Hershey bar.
Go ahead, Ralphie. The stranger is offering you a treat.
My kid crossed her arms tight and told her she was allergic, which she isn't, but lol. So I guess all that hammering of never take an offer of a stranger with candy stuck. Fuck that lady. We have a few things here, like first of all, just the, I don't know if it's audacity, lack of shame, or what have you. I think like maybe the top 3 in these kind of unwanting touching scenarios, I guess, are hair, pregnant bellies, and tattoos. People feel like that it's like, oh, it's something I like, so when you get all grabby with it. No. Don't touch somebody without their permission. I don't know why this is such a difficult fucking concept, but apparently it is. At least very, good on the mother for, teaching her child bodily autonomy and how to say no and how to be loud about it and not trying to placate or be discreet about it. I mean, we definitely need more of that. Maybe these people will learn a lesson. Obviously this lady didn't, because she kept going and then offered her a candy bar, which, I don't know, like I get kind of chomo vibes off of this. It's like, read the room, lady, take a hint. She doesn't want to touch you, she doesn't want anything to do with you, just stop. What the crap. All right, next story. This story is called Don't Stalk Your Peers, and it is under the flare matched energy. Stumbling into this subreddit because of the click, love him, inspired me to share a story about my mother. We are living in a Nevada border town with a smallish population. My younger sister was probably in the 9th grade at the time and had a handful of friends over for a sleepover. I don't know the details, but a group of older boys, 3 to 4 11th graders, had been harassing and generally annoying my sister and her friends earlier in the day. These boys got the bright idea to break into our backyard and scare the group of girls while they were laying outside on the trampoline. This resulted in my sister coming inside, waking my mother, who had gone to bed for work the next day. My mother is eclectic, to say the least, and fears no one. So she reached down the side of her bed and pulled out a perfectly functional flail. Yes, a flail. and calmly stepped outside and began twirling the spiked ball on this medieval weapon. The boys, unsurprisingly, ran back the way that they came. They were scrambling over each other to get back over the fence, with their faces drained completely of color. My mother proceeded to say in her brightest, cheeriest, slightly unhinged voice, "Don't run, come play." No one bothered my sister or her friends for the next 2 years we lived there. Sometimes it's fun to remember that my mother's wild behavior has been repurposed to protect her kids as she's gotten older. So, I mean, this is obviously a really fun way to respond to this, and just to, I guess, establish dominance, which this mother clearly did over these boys. Douchebags like to say, oh, well, boys will be boys, but hopefully they won't be boys like that after this. Next story. This story is called Bloody Religion, and it has the flair petty revenge. When I was a kid, I used to get horrible nosebleeds. Waterfall nosebleeds like I had just broken my nose. I even used to wake up at night from the tickling in my nose, and by the time I sat up to find a tissue, my complete front, pillow, and bedding were already full of bloodstains. Nobody ever found out what caused this, and it stopped sometime when I was a teenager. So in 5th grade, I had a really nasty teacher who taught religion. Yes, where I live, it gets taught in school. I won't go into what a waste of resources this is, but here we are. She was a classic cliche spinster. Think of woolen turtlenecks under a brown tweed jacket, out-of-fashion skirts, and stockings so tightly knit nobody would ever know her legs probably never saw a razor. Editing Kimmy here. I'm just popping in to say that I have no qualms about how anyone decides to handle their body hair. That I'm reading the story as is. So, back to the story. She was the kind of person who became a teacher for lack of alternatives, or maybe she was even too nasty to get admitted to a cloister, who knows? But she certainly hadn't become a teacher because she loves children or teaching. One day, she announced a surprise test, and while she handed out the tests, one of my waterfall nosebleeds started. I asked her to go to the nurse, as I had already bled through my last tissue and I knew it wouldn't stop unless I sat for a while with an ice pack on the back of my neck. She declined, stating I surely provoked the nosebleed so I didn't have to write the test. This was completely uncalled for, as I was a good student. It was the end of the school year, and she had already collected enough marks to grade me without this last test. Even my classmates confirmed that those nosebleeds were a regular occurrence with me, and asked her to let me leave for the nurse, and she wouldn't have it. So I wrote that test, and as I went along, I made sure to bleed on every square centimeter of that test. There wasn't a single spot where she couldn't touch it without getting her fingers soiled. You should have seen her look of disgust. And surprise, surprise, she wasn't even able to grade the test, as the ink mingled with my blood and was completely unreadable when it dried. From that day on, she always kept a box of tissues on her desk, and anytime I raised my hand during class, a little flash of horror passed her face. She also happened to be my teacher the next year. This is kind of one of those things where, like, I really don't understand. I mean, I'm sure that there's, rules and everything like that, and, teachers have to kind of go through the having to parse out whether, somebody's, like, malingering or not. But this was a student that was actively bleeding all over the place and wouldn't let the student go to the nurse. And not like it was not going to be that out of the way to have the student take the test later or something like that. Just kind of being unreasonable for unreasonable's sake. But, she's kind of fucked around and found out on this one. So, I mean, maybe she'll extend, future students a little more grace in the coming time, but who knows? That is all I have for you today. If you like this subreddit and want me to cover it some more, just go ahead and comment that down below. And if you just like the video in general and like my vibe, just gently stroke the like and subscribe buttons and stimulate that algorithm. And until it's time to come slay with me, go slay with yourselves. Bye!